Morning everybody, Silverbolt here, going to be doing, as per the title page, Shrapnel. Now, Shrapnel's character bio presents him as a total sadist. He likes to watch other people in pain, and he especially likes it when they short-circuit, so I imagine that means when they die. However, his cartoon appearance doesn't really reflect that, as is usual with most character bios. I mean, in a 1980s cartoon, unless it's a Japanese anime, anime/manga, you don't really see people who like to torture everybody. Shrapnel is one of 3 Decepticons that escape from the Nemesis, and when they escape from the Nemesis they flee to Indonesia, where they reformat themselves into the form of giant insects, which apparently is the only way they can gain the ability to eat anything they feel like and digest it and turn it into energy. And they stayed hidden out for a long time until Megatron found them. And Megatron is initially quite pleased with the Insecticons. You know, he's very pleased to find more Decepticons on Earth, and ones who have such rather unique abilities. Shrapnel, for instance, can control lightning storms. He also has the ability to make an infinite number of clones from small bits of metal, and that does play a part quite later on in the series, and leads to some controversy in the movie, but I'll get to that in due course, if I remember. In the episode The Insecticon Syndrome, the Insecticons find a new source of energy, which basically makes them really powerful. However, that energy is incompatible with their systems, and though the Insecticons enjoy quite a lot of success using this energy form, I think it was called Nova or something like that, it does get to the point where the Autobots realise that the Insecticons are going to blow up, and they're going to take a good bit of this installation where they've gone to collect this energy with them. Shrapnel, however, doesn't get cured until just slightly too late. He gets blown up just after Spike puts the antidote within him. And this leads to a very corny line from Bombshell saying how Insecticons know how to get it together. And it's like, okay. The Insecticons' rivalry with the Decepticons and the other Autobots comes into fore throughout Series 2. And they're in it quite a fair amount. And then you get the movie. Now, of course, the movie, despite the fact that Shrapnel is a sadist, I think the writers really had really enjoyed what they did to Shrapnel, because they were rather cruel to him. I mean, at the battle for Autobot City, he first gets shot by Blitzwing's cannon. He gets run over by Hot Rod. He gets knocked into the moat by Cup. And then he gets rammed over by Optimus Prime. So he really does take a right royal pounding at the hands of the Autobots. I mean, he single-handedly takes more damage than any of the other Decepticons, pretty much. Apart from the fact that Kickback, of course, you see Kickback's head get very famously flattened by the Autobots as well. Subsequently, Shrapnel is one of the ones that is ejected into space by Starscream and the others. Shrapnel is reformatted into one of the sweeps. Now, this leads to quite a bit of controversy where the Insecticons are concerned. A, because you see them at Starscream's coronation, or you at least see Shrapnel at Starscream's coronation. And B, they also show up in Series 3. Now, you've got 2 arguments for this. One is because Shrapnel has the ability to make clones of himself. It could have been clones that were either A, at the coronation and throughout Series 3, or B, it were clones that were ejected into space. However, due to the fact that the sweeps, there never seems to be an end to the number of sweeps, it also holds water. The argument also holds water that it is actually Shrapnel that gets ejected into space by Starscream out of Astro Train. And that's where they keep getting so many sweeps from, because originally there was only about 4 or 5 sweeps created, but as is seen throughout Series 3, it's the sweeps that keep getting killed. I think you see, is it 2 die in Call of the Primitives? one gets spectacular blown up, the other one gets shot down by Ultra Magnus. I think it's Call of Duty where you see two of them get destroyed. But anyway, Shrapnel is painted as the leader of the Decepticons, the Insecticons, though in the cartoon it does seem in certain instances that it's actually Bombshell. But no, Shrapnel is the one that's credited to being the leader of the Insecticons. That's it for Shrapnel in all the animated continuity, apart from one reference in Beast Wars, where Waspinator gets clunked, as Waspinator is wont to do in Beast Wars, and turns around and says, "I am the Decepticon hero Shrapnel." And he also picks up Shrapnel's speech impediment, where Shrapnel, of course, always says the same word at the end of a sentence. So he goes, "I am Shrapnel, Shrapnel," in a high-pitched, weird, squeaky little voice. He does get a mention in the Transformers comics, The War Within, where you see his Cybertronian in jet mode. And he's a jet, but he still has the very distinctive prongs that mark him as a stag beetle. Okay, now onto the toy range itself. The Insecticons, so that includes Shrapnel, were part of the Diaclone range. And as part of the Diaclone range, in their respective vehicle mode, which I'm just doing now, they have an area for a pilot in there, for a Diaclone pilot. Because, of course, as far as I'm aware, in the Diaclone storyline, they weren't actually conscious robots. They were just mechs that human pilots drove. Hasbro, of course, when they took over the Diaclone range, scrapped that idea. But this is him in his vehicle mode, or his alt mode, seeing as he's not really a vehicle, and he is, of course, in the form of a stag beetle. Why a beetle? You know, why insects? I don't know. I mean, personally, if you're going to have a stomach that can pretty much digest anything, I would have thought you'd want something resembling a goat. But there we go. Okay, as I said, part of the old Diaclone range. I can't find the date stamp on this, so I don't know, but it is very, very early on. And here we have him back in robot mode. Mine is very, very loose. You know, it's very, very loose, but okay, it's an Insecticon. Now, one of the things I've always worried about Shrapnel is how the hell does he get through doors? You know, dunk, 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 dunk. There we go. And his facial structure is quite weird as well. I don't know if I'm going to be able to pick this up in the light. No, you can't. But it looks like he's sticking out his tongue. He's like... It's probably just the way his face is drawn. It's probably supposed to be his bottom lip or something like that. But again, robots with lips. The Insecticons, all three of them, won't set you back a great amount. For some reason, they're probably the cheapest of the G1 stuff. And like most of the early 80s toys, they've got a bit of metal on them. I think his chest plate here is all metal, I believe. Yes, it is. It's all metal. And of course, with the room for the pilots, it's got the yellow chest piece, which I believe all three Insecticons have. I know Bombshell does. I can't tell from Kickback because he's hiding behind my Dinobots. A nice toy. Not an awful lot you can do with it, especially mine, because and the fact that, you know, he wobbles. And as I said, not the most expensive, and certainly something, because of their cult status, despite the fact that Insecticons, though Insecticons came into the Beast Wars comics. I mean, I think the Insecticon toy, this one was redone into Zap something or other. I can't remember his actual name now. But they never really come into it again. And the toys haven't been reissued to my mind, though there is knockoff versions of them. I think the irony with the knockoff versions for the Insecticons is they're painted up as Diaclones, but they're supposed to be Insecticons. So there we go. Zap Blast. Zapnot. That's going to bug me now. So there is a couple of knockoffs of them. I think they're produced by the same people who made like the likes of the cassettes and put them on. They didn't put them on carded backgrounds. I think they released them as a box set of 3. But as is usually my argument for knockoffs, don't go near them. The price of an actual proper insecticon, which is only about 14-15 quid. So, as I said, for a G1 toy and for a proper Diaclone release for a G1 Transformers toy, Shrapnel and the other insecticons are actually quite good. Are actually quite cheap still. Certainly, if you compare that to the price of, say, buying an original G1 Optimus Prime. Though I think with the release of the Encore editions and also Hasbro's planned 25th anniversary edition, no, not 25th anniversary edition, with Hasbro's release of the new, because they're releasing a new Prime, which is the G1 Prime. You know, the prices of an actual proper G1 Prime have come down. I wish we get an Encore one version at some point as well. But never mind, this is Shrapnel, not Optimus Prime, because I've done an Optimus Prime review. Though I really should do a review of the toy. But there we go. But yes, that's Shrapnel. I'm starting to ramble now. Thankfully, this is a lot better than the last time I tried to do Shrapnel, which, as I said in my subscribers message, involved me going, what? And you wanted to see me try and transform. It was funny. I couldn't figure out how they moved. You know, they just fold down. But I couldn't figure out how to do it. I believe, if I remember correctly, I was actually trying to turn them. So yes, my brain was completely monged last week. But yes, that is Shrapnel done for now. So for now, this is Silverbolt with Shrapnel signing off, saying au revoir, adios, au revoir.